got a whole team.
Yay!
Hey! Hey! Y'all, this hot. Jesus. So I wore this for two reasons, and you'll see when I begin my talk officially. But y'all, this is the most expensive item I own in my closet in my house. I had another course, the college over here, touching it, because y'all, this is velvet. Hear me when I say velvet. Okay? For some of my seniors out there, when you graduate, you're going to get the two twins, Polly and Esther. All right? When you go to master's, you're going to get the other twins, Polly and Esther times 2 with a sash. But doctorate is the velvet. But this is the most expensive item because of the decades it took to be able to wear this, to stand up here on Black History Month and be my ancestors' wildest dreams. And because it was literally the most expensive item, y'all. This thing cost me $1,000 to buy. I didn't want to rent one. I wanted it to be in my closet. And I've only worn it once. Today is the second time. So thank y'all. Oh, Lord. Thank y'all for allowing me to wear this today. So as Natty said, my name is Dr. Brandy Brooks. And today I'm going to challenge you around educational resilience of homeless students. Now, this topic is personal as well as professional to me. And me wearing this robe relates to the story I'm going to tell you. So, when I think about stories, words matter, right? And you think about the stories that stay with us forever. Once upon a time in a land far away. My name, call me Ishmael. My name is Santiago. And this one, when I go like this, I want to see if the audience can participate, because this is going to tell me how the rest of this 30 minutes goes, okay? So if you know the word that completes the beginning of this poem, say it out when I go like this, all right? 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a right. So it sticks with you. Stories stick with you. They draw you in. They make you feel something. They leave you with something. They challenge you to do something. And so today, I'm going to start my story with one of my favorite quotes. I use this all the time when I used to teach, even when I'm talking to students, when I'm talking to others. And the quote is up on the screen. You can read it as I speak it aloud. It says, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Ain't that y'all? Ooh, yes, snap, snap, snap. If we were in a different place, I'd be passing around a collection, you know, because this is some money right here. But no, seriously, the day you are born and the day you find out why. My why is this woman right here, literally and figuratively. This is my maternal grandmother, Clarice Brooks Murdaugh. They say that life is the dash. Her dash was amazing, y'all. Not only was she my grandmother, she was a pianist, an organist, and the church choir director. And so when my cousin and I, we'd be in the second pew, because we thought it was smart to be in the second pew because she couldn't see us. So she'd be directing, singing, playing. And y'all, we would cut up, we'd be talking, and she'd give that look. Y'all know that look? Because I'm sure when I was walking in, some of y'all got it because y'all was on your phones. But y'all know that look? So my grandmother be up there. She'd be like, And then we'd be like, she'd turn, look at us, and her eyes, she didn't say nothing, but she communicated a lot. And what her eyes told us was, wait till I get y'all out this church. And depending on how much we cut up, we'd be beat in the back of the church, y'all. She wouldn't even wait till we got home. But she was an organist, a pianist, a church choir director. She was an elementary school principal in the segregated and desegregated South. Did y'all hear that? Okay. My grandmother was a bad mamma jamma. And she is the reason I wear this robe. Because when my grandmother died, she was 7 credits shy of her doctorate. And so when they call my name, and this is different too when you get a doctorate, yours is the only name called. They don't call any other name until you are hooded and you get your diploma. And so as they call my name, I'm standing there on the stage, and I'm just overwhelmed. And by this time, both of my grandmothers and grandparents had passed, both my grandfathers, both sides. And I'm just standing there, and they say, Dr. Brandy Brooks. And I kid you not, it was like I felt them all around me and carrying me across that stage and continuing to carry me today. But why this story is important to the topic I'm going to talk about today, as I said, the dash is your life. But my grandmother's ending literally saved mine and my family. So let me tell you about it. My grandmother died on Sunday, October 27th, 1991. She had fought as long as she could with stage 4 lymphoma. My mom comes in the room. It's Sunday. And she wakes my sister and I up, and she's like, guys, I have some news. Grandma's gone. You can't process it. She was the matriarch of our family. I couldn't process it. But I knew we were going to go to her where she was born, where she grew up, where she was raised, and we were going to bury her in South Carolina. And so we go as a family, all in our own emotions, lots of things going on. And then Wednesday, October 30th, 1991, my mother gets a phone call from the fire department. And the fire department says, hello, am I speaking to? And they say, ma'am, I'm sorry to give you this information, but your house is burned to the ground. And my mom just collapses. It was the first home she had bought. And so my grandmother dies on Sunday. Our house burns down on Wednesday. We are homeless. Friday, we have my grandmother's homegoing service. Sunday, we come back to no home. But the fire marshal said, come meet us at your home. We just want to tell you and, just make sure you're okay. Because when they came, it was such a blaze. They were like, oh, my gosh. So we go on Sunday. We meet with the fire marshal and a couple of fire guys. And they say 2 things. They say, had you been home when this fire started, you would have died. Because it started in the kitchen and just spread. We wouldn't have had time to get out of the house. The second thing they said was, I know it's not much, but me and the guys put together a few dollars for you, and we want to make sure you have someplace safe to stay. So they gave my mother $2,000 that they had raised so that we wouldn't be literally on the street. And they gave that to my mother. And I remember that time because as sobering as it was, my grandmother, and I feel it and believe it to this day, she died so that I could live. And, you know, the Zulu have a philosophy. They say, I am because they were. And I truly believe with everything in my being that is hard, even today as I'm fighting tears saying this, is that as hard as it was to lose her, I'm so thankful that she chose to allow me to continue to live. She gave up her battle. Jesus. She gave up her battle so that my family could continue ours. And, okay, so grandmother dies on Sunday. House burns down Wednesday. Friday, we have our homegoing service. The next Sunday, we come back. Tuesday, we were back in school, y'all. Because my mama was like, okay, well, school is important. Maybe they'll find some center. Maybe there'll be something helpful with my babies going back to school. It was just my sister and I at that time. My brother came later because of her. But we go back to school on Tuesday. And my teacher pulls me to the side before class starts. And she says, Brandy, how are you doing? And I'm like, you know, I have this hubris and like, I'm good. You know how sometimes when you're not good, you just, you know, you be like, I'm good. You try to be the, you know, the clown of the class, that type of thing. She pulled me to the side and she said, Brandy, you know, how are you? And I was like, I'm good. And then I pointed my finger at her. And I said, look, if you want to tell the class that my grandmother died of cancer, that's okay. But you better not tell anybody that I'm homeless. And I meant that. With all my 10-year-old anger and frustration, I meant it. And she said to me, and I'll never forget it because it has stayed with me to this day. She said, okay, Brandy, but if you're never not okay, know that I am here. And she gave me a hug. And that hug, y'all, along with the many other hugs I've had in my life, have carried me to this point today. That's why I came up to the theme song, I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up. But I'm up only because there were folks that carried me, pulled me, pushed me sometimes. And that teacher in that moment, without knowing it, was one of those people. She became part of my village. Y'all still with me? All right. So I wish I could say that my story was unique. I wish I could say that even in my town in Georgia, I was the only homeless student. I was the only one in my school, but I was one of thousands in the state of Georgia at that time. Hundreds of thousands across the United States. And so when I use terms, I think it's always important to ground us in what does the term mean, right? So we all see the definition here on the screen. It comes from the McKinney-Vento. It says you are homeless if you lack an adequate place and a space at night. Right? That's the definition of homeless. But if we think about that a little bit further, does it capture everyone? Right? I see some of you shaking your heads like, what? You lack a nighttime? What about during the day? You know, what does this mean? So McKinney-Vento, they expanded on the definition and they define it for students like yourselves and families. Homelessness is, yes, lacking an adequate nighttime residence, but it also means if you are doubled up, you're couch surfing, you don't know where you're going to go home tonight. It also means you are sleeping in a place not meant for habitation. You are sleeping in your car. You're outside sometimes. You go to abandoned buildings. And in emergency situations, you may be at BMC, Boston Medical Center, because it's just too cold outside. It also means those who were incarcerated and they are coming home and have no place or space to go. So that's the definition of homeless. Are y'all with me? All right. Look, I got to make sure. I don't like folks to be on the phone when I'm talking. Okay? Now, can y'all see this? Can y'all see it? Yes, no? Good, because y'all young, and I made it small just for that purpose, because the first thing that goes is your eyesight. So if you can see this, that's fantastic. But the main point that I want to highlight is that in Boston, let's ground it because you are students in Boston. Right now in the city of Boston, there are nearly 10% of students that are homeless. And these are students, guys, these are students that have gone to someone. These are families that have gone to the family liaison. They've gone to the principal. They've gone to the nurse. And therefore, in the Aspen system, it has a homeless tag by those students, by those families. Imagine how many families and students are actually homeless and haven't gone to anyone because of shame, because of stigma. Remember, I told my teacher, you better not tell anybody I'm homeless. So now, what are the factors that contribute to student homelessness? We have economic insecurity, family conflict. You got to get out of my house right now. We've worked with students that have been kicked out of their homes for many different reasons. Rising costs. It's unaffordable for everybody. Lack of positive social support. Response to violence or trauma. We've helped quite a few families where the head of household was a victim of sexual violence, domestic violence. We even helped one family that was trafficked. Are there any others you think that should be up there? Based on what you've seen, what you know? Don't be afraid. Call it out. Huh? Yeah, people in domestic abuse situations. Thank you. Immigration, absolutely. Religious beliefs, absolutely, yes. Being a refugee, yes. Anybody else? One last one? Huh? Child services, you said? Oh, yes. So a young person that has been involved with the system. Absolutely. We have students that have aged out. Where do they go? They've been in foster care, and now they've aged out of the system, right? So let me ask y'all. Everybody knows Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? What's at the base? Food, water, shelter, literally breathing. Those are your physiological needs. That's at the base of the pyramid, right? So we have Valentine's Day coming up. And I'm sure, as Natty mentioned, some of y'all got situationships, relationships, friendships, other ships going on. But let me ask you, what do you think is a good base for whatever ship you got going on? What are characteristics of a good foundation for your ship? And y'all keep it PG. Respect, yes. Huh? Communication, yes. Trust, loyalty, honesty, patience, Lord Jesus, yes. Oh, yes. What'd you say? Stability, yes. Anybody else? Compromise, appreciation, Lord. Y'all are scholars out here. Who else? One last person. Transparency, yes, yes. So, I saw one more hand. You the last one. Thoughtfulness. Ooh, vulnerability. Look at you going deep. Okay. So, but I ask you, all the ones that gave answers and the ones that didn't, if you don't have that as a foundation, what's likely to happen to your ship? It's going to crumble. It's going to sink. It can't stand. A house with no foundation, cracks start to develop. And over time, you can't just put duct tape on that. You're going to have to redo the whole foundation. And if I have any homeowners in the room, y'all know it ain't, Lord, yes. Okay? So, this next slide highlights if we don't have the foundation, you don't have housing, what's the impact? We see impact with education. Depending on the study you look at, up to 50% of homeless students never graduate high school. Never. And homelessness is very much so akin to food insecurity. So if you don't have adequate shelter, the likelihood too is that you don't have adequate access to food. And there are others up here. Do you have access to support? Your exposure to violence and trauma. Not all shelters are equal. Stigma and fear. I talked about my own stigma, my own fear. And the thing that I was thinking about as a 10-year-old when my grandmother died was that Christmas was coming up. Again, that was what came through my mind. I was like, Christmas is coming up. She's not going to be here. But I'll never forget it, that first Christmas without my grandmother. My mother cried so much. She tried to shield us from it, crying at night when she thought we were asleep. But she cried so much, y'all. And that stigma, that fear, I was like, we don't have a home. I don't have any place to invite friends to. I'm not going to have new clothes after the holiday. I probably won't have new clothes for at least a year. That's how long it took. That stigma, that fear is real. And when you couple that with immigration and with some of the other, being a refugee or some of the other things y'all mentioned, it just exacerbates it. And then your health. Think about it. You're not sleeping because you have no safe, welcoming nighttime residence, and you're not eating. What's your health like? Probably pretty bad. Right? And so, everything I've said, the story, leads all up to the challenge I issue to you if you are willing to accept it. The challenge is, I challenge you to design a solution that addresses homelessness amongst high school students and young adults in your community. And it emphasizes the importance of stabilizing their access to education and academic performance. All right, y'all take pictures? Okay. Now, whether you choose my challenge or not is not as important to me. What's important to me is that as you think about all the challenges that happen today, I want you in your groups, when you go back to school, I want you to think about solutions that are bold, that are innovative, that, like John Lewis says, make good trouble. I want you to think outside the box. And most importantly, for me, as someone who went through homelessness, I want you to create solutions that remind you of the little 10-year-old me when my teacher embraced me and said, it's going to be all right. Make sure you come up with solutions that are as warm, as welcoming, as inclusive, and have the possibility to be as sustainable as that hug was decades ago. So I close with this. I thank you. I thank BPS for being the city to accept the challenge. I thank the Aspen Institute for sending out sketchy emails in the beginning to ask y'all, it was really sketchy. It was like, hey, are you interested in helping students? I was like, okay, delete. Look, I ain't trying to get scammed. But I appreciate the Aspen Institute for continuing to follow up. Thank you to the Bezos Family Foundation for continuing to support these in many cities to come and many cities in the past. And last but not least, I thank all of you because I know you are going to come up with some amazing, amazing solutions. And again, I'll close with this. I am because she was. And I appreciate all of y'all for listening to me, giving me this stage, giving me this opportunity. And y'all, just as a side note, I got a bet going, so I need a lot of groups to select me, okay? So I'm just going to put it out there in public, okay? But thank you all. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of the day.
Give it up for Dr. Brooks. Wait a minute. You know you got questions and answers.
Oh,
15
yeah.
minutes was supposed to be Q&A.
Oh, my bad.
She told me, okay, I'm out of here. I was like, wait, we got Q&A. Y'all got some questions? Anybody? It's time. Mic runners, we're going to see who has some questions. I want you to say your name, school,
Question
and
here.
stand up.
Question here and question over there. Question
Let me see somebody who has not asked a question first.
there.
Anybody?
Wait, he is not, I don't think.
Asher has.
Oh, okay.
He didn't ask 45 questions. All right, but we still gonna get this question, mic runner, right here, and then we'll get you right
And
here.
then
And I know
sister-
introverts.
sister right here. has a question.
I got it, doctor. I know introverts are in the building. This is the last challenge. We're at the end of the day. Take advantage. Thank you. All right, Asher, stand up. Name, which I just said.
Hi, I'm Asher. I'm from Boston Arts Academy. And I was wondering, what support do you wish you had most? Like, one specific service or maybe a couple that you wish you had access to when you were missing a home?
Yeah, it's hard because I was 10. So a lot of the supports were very school-based. So I remember that when I went back to school, they had a counselor speak to me, and I had in-school sessions with the counselor. Those were helpful, just to be able to have a space to unload all the frustration. Something else that I know was absolutely helpful for us was having those emergency resources from the fire department, because we literally would have been sleeping in our car because we had nowhere to go. And then we got connected to, I guess what's similar here, the Department of Children and Families. So we got connected to the Georgia version of that. And that was very helpful, because then we were able to move into what's known here as kind of like a scattered site hotel. So we moved into a hotel for a little bit, and they were able to fund and support that so that we were able to still go to school. Because my mother, again, I'm not wearing this robe by accident. On Tuesday, we were back in school. And so education was so important. So I think that is any supports that stabilize. And school, for a lot of young people, is a stabilizer.
Okay. Yep. All right, we're going to go right here. Oh, you got the mic already? We'll go here and then there.
Hello, my name is Angelica Munoz. I come from the Excel High School. And this is not really a question, it's more of a thank you for being vulnerable and being able to tell your story like this. I went through the same thing in 3rd grade. I was inside the house, actually, when I realized the house was catching on fire. And the only reason I'm here today is because I was able to reveal something that had been following me for 4 years, and I never got rid of until that house burned down, and I finally revealed the truth to my mom. And I was able to actually accept who I was, and now that that was the past, that is who makes me me today. And I just want to thank you for being...
Hold on. You hug? Okay. Girl. Thank you. You are, and you're important.
All right, we go here. Look, you didn't raise your hand about 11 times. You're going to be the last one. Check. That mic.
It's like hot. Just say it, and I'll repeat it.
I have 2 questions, actually.
Okay.
Like, short. So the first one, like, how did you know you wanted to be a doctor? Like, is it because you're like your grandma passing?
Okay. How did I want to be a doctor? Was it because my grandmother passing? And the second question? Did I ever share with people in school? Okay. So I wanted to be a doctor, yes, absolutely, because my grandmother was 7 credits shy. When I found out that, literally it became my mission. I was like, I don't know what kind of doctor, but I'm going to be a doctor. And I went to undergrad, and I thought I was going to be a medical doctor, y'all, because, you know, that was the only doctor I really knew at that time. And I ended up going the path of, I got my doctorate in education. And it was funny, though, when I graduated, my mom was like, oh, you a doctor, but not the kind that help people. I was like, and then she followed it up, though, with, your grandmother's smiling anyways. So that's the answer to your first question. In terms of the second, did I tell anybody in school? No. Not a single person. The teachers knew, and I knew the counselor knew. But I did not tell a single one of my classmates, nothing. I would go to their sleepovers and everything, didn't host my own. They didn't ask no questions. I didn't offer any answers. It was really heavy. I could deal with my grandmother's death. I could deal with that because we've been taught about cancer in science. Couldn't deal with the home. I just couldn't.
All right, one more time. Y'all give it up for Dr. Brooks.
Yeah. And for anybody who does have questions, I'll try to stick around, and you can, ask me on the side. Remember, I got a bet. Got a bet going.
All right, one more time for Dr. Brooks.